since many people are interested in the economy and COVID-19.
This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work, counting down now to a few days before the American election. I want to talk about a so called trade off between dealing with the pandemic on the one hand and sustaining or maintaining the economy on the other. We have been told by a vast array of quote unquote leaders that there is such a trade off and that we should recommend and enact procedures that protect our economy even at the price of the dealing with the disease. We shouldn't just focus on the disease. There's a trade-off between the disease treatment and the economic sustaining that we need to undertake as well.
Yeah,
I want to
socialist. Yeah, yeah,
oppose
yeah.
that argument.
He's the guy. He's the guy behind that meme. Though again, I need to make it clear he was joking in the original clip that meme is taken from as well. So yeah, that's not what he actually thinks.
I want to criticize it, and I want to talk to you about the ulterior motives that drive it. First, the criticism. We are now in the second so called wave of the virus. We have learned that over the summer, there were relaxations of lockdowns that had been imposed in many countries. And we're learning now that, as predicted by many epidemiologists, relaxing those lockdowns enabled, allowed, provoked a resurgence of the disease and therefore a renewal of lockdowns. So right away, it is easy for me to say, had we focused more on fighting the disease, we would not be facing a second lockdown, which, as quite a few have pointed out, is a kind of double whammy for the economy, not good for it at all, and it'll be harder for many businesses to weather a second lockdown, given how hard it was for them in the first one. Nobody in their right mind, and that does allow for a few, would argue that we should not have locked down in the first place. And those who argue that way are thankfully not taken seriously in most parts of the world.
Guys, are you seriously telling me that you don't think a government coordinated federal lockdown would have made a difference when we literally have data points from all across the world that show that the countries that did a coordinated government lockdown have far fewer deaths per capita than we do? If we had had a coordinated lockdown, yeah, it would have made a huge difference. And if we had done it right the first time, we could be in a much better situation. Sweden deliberately was pursuing the herd immunity strategy. Sweden deliberately did not lock down. By the way, I know people who live in Sweden. The point that proves the non-lockdown strategy? No. I know people who live in Sweden. It's a horror show over there for them. Yeah, it's really bad. What was going on with Sweden? Why? Currently, they're in kind of like a their version of conservative leadership is in power, and they basically took the strategy of, hey, we're gonna do nothing, and that we'll get herd immunity and it will be fine. And then people started dying in mass, and it was actually not fine. His point was, if we had had a better lockdown, we wouldn't be having a huge second wave right now, unprecedented in the entire world. We currently have far more cases than anywhere else in the world. Look at Italy, at Spain. How is it working for them? Working better for us. Yeah, generally, working a bit better than us. Um, their cases are worse. Okay, I'll take a look at the COVID-19 tracker, I guess. Though I would wager a guess, just as a general rule here, that their hospitals are likely overwhelmed by the pandemic. But we'll see. I'll take a look at the actual data. Okay, let's take a look. It's in a book, reading Rainbow. I need COVID-19 tracker. Why is this? Here's the global map from Johns Hopkins. Okay. Wait, can I not select an individual country? Oh well. We can look at this real quick. Hey, look. Look, it's Italy. Look at all those hotspots. Let's take a look at cases per country. Where's Italy? Did I already pass it? I might have already passed it. Let's see. Italy's right here with 1 million. We're doing around 10 times worse than Italy is when it comes to cases. Wait, which graph? When you say look at the graph, oh, okay. Google Italy cases, okay. Italy, COVID-19 cases. There we go. Okay. This is COVID-19 in Italy. Okay. Let's take a look. Look at our graph. Look at that. It's much bigger in every conceivable way. Look at that. 40,000, 142,000. Yeah, it's not great. Not great at all. Yeah, the USA 33,000 cases per million, Italy 17.7 cases per million. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's worse here. Yeah. This is the point we're making. It's worse here. Yeah, exactly. If we had properly shut down, it would have been better here. If it was better here, then we would have a better economic time at the moment. Yeah, if it had been a tight lockdown and people had broken it, that's one thing. But the issue is we didn't properly shut down. Yeah, even if we were looking like Italy, it would be a massive improvement. What the fuck are you trying to argue here? Yeah, Italy's looking much better compared to us. Like, again, their cases per million are literally half of ours. We would have half the amount of deaths right now. Yeah. Like, there's a whole lot of problems here. But I also, like, I'm of the opinion that even if your contention was correct, even if your point was correct, yeah, lowering our numbers by like half would be a extremely good thing. Yeah, let's take a look at Australia and New Zealand. Australia. Wow, look at that. They had 12 cases today. They had 12 cases in an entire continent. Let's take a look at, can we look at like just Africa? Can we look at the entire continent of Africa? No? Okay. Let's take a look at Nigeria. Or, you know what? Somalia. Let's take a look at Somalia. Wowee. Somalia is actually doing pretty gosh darn good. Wow, wowee. Yep. They had 4,000 cases total with 107 deaths in Somalia. Look at Cuba while you're at it? Sure. Let's look at Cuba. Oh, that's Cuba. Let's look at Cuba. Yeah. Look at that. 7,000 cases. They can't afford the tests. My dude, I'm pretty sure Cuba has more doctors per capita than any other nation on Earth. I'm pretty sure Cuba has more doctors per capita than any nation on Earth. Cuba, more doctors. Yeah, he has more doctors per capita. Let's see. As of 2005, Cuba became the world leader in the ratio of doctors to population, with 67 doctors per 10,000 population, compared with 43 in the Russian Federation and 24 in the United States. They literally have 3 times the amount of doctors per population than we do. So, like, I'm pretty sure Cuba also manufactures medical supplies. Um, Cuba manufacturing COVID-19 tests. Let's see. Let's take a look. Wow, look at this. August 19th, Cuba's about to start testing its own COVID-19 vaccine. Interesting. You know, a lot of Americans go to Cuba. A lot of Americans go to Cuba to receive medical treatment. Let's see. Interesting. Oh, look at this. Here's a thing. Cuban scientists adapt diagnostic test to detect COVID-19. Designed by researchers from Havana. Wow. Looks like they have testing. I mean, literally people from the United States go to Cuba for medical treatment. I don't know what you're talking about here. Hello! I can't feel any... you can't feel a thing. Hello! I hope you're enjoying the program. This is basically what it is. Though usually I feel like the stream's a little better. I feel like I'm kind of having a shitty stream today. I've been off my game since yesterday. Though I do want to point out that if Cuba had the equivalent, like, testing per million that we did, they would be done testing within, like a week or two. Like, their population's only 11 million. If they were testing, like, yeah, if they were testing on the same rate we were, they'd probably be done by now. Yeah, Revolt Rise, by the way, is actually pretty well acclaimed journalist. On top of everything else he does, If everyone agreed with you on the stream, there would be nothing to discuss. So if I'm banned, okay. You're not going to be banned. Why are you why are you talking about like being banned? No one's gonna ban you for disagreeing. Um oops. Oh, you threatened him? I think probably because it's a bit it's just a bit ludicrous for people like it's a bit ludicrous for people from other countries around the world to see Americans like just staunchly refusing to acknowledge that we could have done better with the pandemic when literally every other country on the world has done pretty much better than we have with like a few exceptions. We have most things shut down here and might get restaurants and bars closed again in a couple weeks. Um, I can't feel a thing. Where are you at? Also, Aftershark, hello. I haven't seen you in chat. Oh, you're in British Columbia, Canada. Yeah, averaging 500 cases a day now. Yeah. Wait, what did we have in the United States today? We had 140. We had 142,000, almost 143,000. It's great here. I'm super scared. Um, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I feel like when you compare like Cuba and let's see here. Let's just take a look at Cuba one more time. Here's Italy again. Like, guys, just to put this in perspective, just today we had 1/5 the amount of cases that Italy has had in total. Um, uh, actually, Mikkel, um, even if you get COVID, the survival rate isn't 100%. The death rate in this country is about 2.7%. And also, no, about 2.7%. I've looked it up. But also, uh, Revolt Rise has actually had it, and it fucked them up. That's the hospital. That's the hospitalization deaths. Yeah, it's the deaths of people who died because they got the virus. If they hadn't gotten the virus, they wouldn't have died. Yes. And also, it can scar you for life, even if you recover from it. Like, it can scar your lungs and your heart. It can age your brain by a decade. Yeah, like, it can do a lot of nasty shit to you. No. Archangel Decab, he's drawing the distinction between the actual death rate from COVID-19 and saying that that's wrong because people with the that are at risk didn't die from COVID. They died from whatever they were at risk of, you know? Yeah, pre-existing conditions. Thank you. My brain is all over the place tonight. Jen Calliope, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it very much. Oldenstein, thank you very much for the follow. Yeah. No, the whole argument over pre-existing conditions is absolute bullshit. Absolute nonsense. And you should be honestly ashamed that you've been taken in by that rhetoric. Do you think Americans have gotten distracted from the election to not thinking about the pandemic? Obviously, Trump could have done a better job, or anything at all. Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of Americans, especially a lot of people on the right, are basically in the camp of, well, it's already here, nothing we can do about it. Time to throw grandma in the wood chipper for the sake of the economy. That's basically where most people are. Um, uh, oh, and what was this? Cuba. I just was curious to look at their numbers. Yeah, Cuba's total cases are around 200,000 less than ours. Um, just today. And that's total in Cuba. I imagine they're doing fine during the pandemic. As an island nation, they can control their borders a bit more. Um, yeah, it's 2.3 in the United States. It's not great here. You know, even compared with worldwide numbers. Um, doing mental math here. Yeah, it's not great. Not good. I have to finish up homework and go to bed, but I'm gonna hop off. You have a good night, okay, J Boy G. DC Mayor said we can celebrate together, and this is an exception. Okay. Um, Dumb people on both sides. No arguments from anyone here. Um, my dude, have you seen dumb people on television with sports? Like they're rushing the field and like hugging each other and shit over like football game wins. So yeah, like we're not doing anything about COVID-19 anymore, and most people have just kind of given up. Please look at entire EU countries. They all look bad, and it all looks like Italy. Again, Italy has half of our problem. Like again, we it, do I really need to bring up this number again? Do I really need to do that? Okay. Italy has 1 million cases, including what they 1.7 million, 1.07 million, including what they just had today. What we just had today in the United States with new cases in just today is like uh, almost all almost 15% of what they have. We increased our lead over like we took 15% of the cases from Italy in just one day. That's absolutely insane that you are saying like, "Oh yeah, it's roughly equivalent." Um I'm pretty sure. Okay. How about you know what? Mikhail, how about instead of comparing us to Europe, let's compare us to Africa. Let's compare us to Africa, okay? COVID-19 Africa cases. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here over in the African Union. Look at that. They've had 1.9 million cases in Africa with 46,000 deaths. That seems like a lot. How many deaths have we had in the United States? Oh wait, guess what? Let's just take a look. Look, the entire continent of Africa has had only slightly more deaths than Italy. Yeah, exactly. But they still have to tally the deaths, my dude. They still have to tally the deaths. No, I genuinely don't think this is trolling. I can't feel a thing. I think this is like a genuine conservative. Like a genuine conservative that is like just can't wrap their head around this. Um and yeah, let's take a look at the United States. Let's take a look at the United States. Let's take a look at these numbers. United States of America. Let's see. Wow. The entire continent of Africa has had roughly the amount of deaths that occurred in just New York State. Yes, Africa did lock down. Africa has masks. Africa has taken precautions. Yeah, they did shit. They did shit to like combat the virus. There are 55 countries in Africa. Yeah. Yes. Africa takes science into account. You understand it's not like a bunch of people sitting in huts in Africa, right? You understand that, right? Like they have cities. They have fucking cities. Look, I'll Google Africa. Let's just take a look. Look it's the country of Africa. That wasn't what I was trying to do for dramatic effect. Let's look at Nigeria. I don't know what the capital of Nigeria is off the top of my head. Nigeria. City. Whatever. There we go. Look at that. Look at. It's a city in Nigeria. Look at this. It actually has buildings and shit. Look at that. Look at. It's like a city. It looks like a city. Yeah, they have modern cities. You were talking about their countries earlier. Yeah, I'm trying to make the point to you that they're not like sitting in huts. That they're actual places where science and technology exists, and you seem like you don't understand that. Let's take a look at Somalia, because Somalia seems to have the lowest numbers so far. Somalia. Let's take a look. Yeah, not doing so hot. It's almost like things aren't going well over there. Go to Lagos and still call it a modern city? Okay. I saw skyscrapers. Looks like a modern city to me. Let's see. I need a city in Somalia. Let's take a look. Somalia. Okay, Mogadishu. Images. Look at that. Wow, it's a city. It's almost like the problems that they're facing in Somalia haven't led to a massive outbreak of COVID-19. Weird. Weird. What did the country of Nigeria do? Let's find out. COVID-19. Let's see. Look at that. They've had 1,162 deaths. It's not very many. Let's take a look at Science Mag. Look at this. It's a tricky thing. COVID-19 cases haven't soared in Nigeria, but that could change. We'll find out. So far, sub-Saharan Africa has not experienced the extreme numbers of cases and deaths from the novel coronavirus some public health experts feared would occur. Nigeria, the continent's most populous nation, has reported only 33,000 deaths and just under cases and just under 750 deaths among its nearly 200 million citizens. Weird. They have 200 million people that live in Nigeria. How many people live in the United States? Wow. They seem to be doing pretty okay. And with a population that's absolutely colossal. Huh. Weird. Like everywhere else, the true toll is likely higher. Testing in Nigeria is scant, but the country hasn't seen overflowing hospitals, which it would be seeing if there was a massive outbreak on top of, like if people were getting sick en masse, they would be seeing overflowing hospitals. But they aren't seeing that because people aren't as sick there. I know this is hard to understand, but let's keep looking. Yet the numbers across Africa are ticking up, and Chikwe Ikekwazu, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. Director of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control is far from complacent. In Nigeria, implementing testing and control measures across the vast federation of 36 states is a tall order. Ihekwezu Ahikwizu. Yes, Ahikwizu. Uh, I really hope I'm probably butchering it. I'm sorry. Spoke with Science Insider about the country's approach to the pandemic, the role of the World Health Organization, and the challenge of securing a vaccine for the Nigerian population. What's the current situation in your country? Um, we are seeing hundreds of new cases every day with sustained community spread, in particular in Lagos. The epidemic is still increasing, but not exponentially. We are also not seeing the severity observed in other countries. In the meantime, we are increasing our testing capacity. Testing is not being done enough for several reasons. There's a stigmatization of people with COVID 19, and some states are not as proactively pushing testing as they should. There could be underreporting of deaths and severe disease, but at least we would see a part of it in the hospitals. It is a tricky thing because it could become very dramatic, but so far it has not been. Do you have an explanation for the fact that it's not as bad as in other regions of the world? Is it because a larger proportion of the population is young, less favorable conditions for transmission? There are many things you can point at, but anyone who says he knows the reasons is not honest to himself. We are still in the middle of it. It could change. What do the current coronavirus regulations look like in Nigeria? There's still a ban on gatherings of more than 20 people. There is still a curfew between 10 p.m. and 10 a.m. Domestic flights have resumed. We have lifted the restriction on interstate travel because people found ways around it. We still ask people to maintain distance, work from home, and wear face masks in public spaces. Most schools are still closed. Wow. Mikkel, it's almost like all of these things have helped them keep their cases low. Almost like all of these things helped Nigeria keep their cases low. It's almost like they looked around the world and said, hey, we don't want millions of our people to die like they are going to in the United States, so we're going to adopt these measures. Yeah, we haven't had consistent restrictions in the United States at all at any point since the thing began. Yeah, what about the paragraph where it says it's too early to tell? Well, I think maybe we should look at what they're actively doing and how it helped. Like, maybe the reason it's not bad here is because they're doing all of these things. It seems like that at the very least would have helped. So I don't know. It's not because they're black. Like, being black isn't something that, as we know in the United States, is not something that keeps you from getting it. So when was this article written? It was July 14th, 2020. So back in July, but back in July is still fairly, and it's still fairly low now. If it was such a concern, why were BLM protests permitted throughout the entire summer? Well, I mean, I don't think you can necessarily control a large and angry population that's coming out in the tens of millions in the largest historic and sustained protest in American history. Yeah, that do you like were you missing the part where the police were like beating them in the streets? Did you miss that part? Hello, OMG Sticks. Yeah, they shot people's eyes out, my dude. Wait, what? But that's what you want to do to regular Americans as well? No, I want to have sensible restrictions that save people's lives. What the fuck are you talking about? So BLM can protest, but people can't go to church? Look, if you want to go to church, go to church. Break the fucking law. What's stopping you other than someone's telling you not to? That's the difference. The BLM marches were being explicitly told not to march. That's why police were outside and beat them. If you going to church is that important to you, then you should fucking go to church and ignore the orders. And if police come out and start beating you, you should still go to church anyway. Like, if this is like, I don't understand the disconnect here. Like, BLM wasn't an organization that was like, hey, we're not going to enforce COVID restrictions. Like, no, people were coming out because they were angry, and in mass. You don't get the largest sustained protest movement in American history because like some like shill organization is like being like mobilizing people. What's wrong with you? No, these people were angry and justifiably so. It was it was loosely knit, but BLM is an actual entity. No, people showed up to the BLM marches, tens of millions of people. Are you saying that there is an organization out there backed by tens of millions of people? Because I'm pretty sure last time I checked on Facebook, the Black Lives Matter organization had like 1/5 the amount of people following it as the Blue Lives Matter organization. Okay, like I, I I'm sorry, like BLM has funding and BLM is organized. BLM got donations from people who are angry, my dude. Yeah. There's BLM, the organization, and then there are people who came out to the protests to support the cause that BLM stands for. Yes. But you need to understand the distinction between the two. You should be able to go to church. I disagree. You should not during a deadly pandemic. But if these people think that you should be able to go to church regardless, then go to church regardless. And then take the consequences that come with that. That's what BLM protesters did. Some of those people had their eyes shot out and were gassed regularly. Are you saying you're not willing to put up with that to go to church? Well, then maybe it's not as important to you as what the protesters were standing for. So, yeah, like this is my point. So what should the law be? Can a regular citizen lawfully go to church without a legal penalty? I think that during a pandemic, there should be a legal penalty if you're getting in if you're organizing to get in groups larger than 20. Yeah. If we're going to take this pandemic seriously and try and save hundreds of thousands of lives, yeah. Yeah. And you, as a practicing Christian, should probably be interested in saving people's lives more than going to a physical building. Like, fucking have more faith in your religion than saying that you absolutely need to go to the same building as everyone else. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you saying it's Christly behavior to sacrifice hundreds of thousands of other people so that you can go to your building? You can pray literally anywhere. The entire purpose of like the Protestantism was so that you had a personal relationship with God. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, and like it blows my mind that you people say that it does and try and use Christ as like a way to like try and like argue that you should be able to get other people killed. Absolutely ridiculous. What is the First Amendment? I'm not talking about the First Amendment, my dude. I'm talking about the consistency of your religious values. Clearly lacking. You can worship whoever you want. You can worship wherever you want. And but maybe during a pandemic, it's in the public interest to not gather in large groups. Christ was for supply side economics and American military power abroad. uh, True. Like, First Amendment doesn't allow for virtual church. The First Amendment doesn't allow for small groups of people. You can meet for a small Bible study. No one's stopping you from that. Good Lord. How about the right to assembly that is protected by the First Amendment? Clearly not, my dude, if you're taking issue with Black Lives Matter, but you don't seem to have an issue with Black Lives Matter being gassed and having their eyes shot out. I guess your freedom of assembly has extreme limitations that you're willing to apply to other groups of people, just not your own. And I'm saying that maybe we should maybe address the problem that the protesters were out trying to address, and maybe we should also not kill people during a pandemic just because people want to go to the same building for a community activity. So the people you agree with can gather? No, I'm not saying that either. I'm saying that large gatherings should be illegal. But I am also saying that if you care enough about the issue, you should be willing to break the law. Yeah, it's not that complicated. The Black Lives Matter protesters were willing to break the law because of what they believed in. You're clearly not, and you're crying about it in chat. And I think that this demonstrates some difference of value between what the protesters value and what you value. Um, no, you're the one making the judgment of who can assemble and who cannot. Okay. Um, well, actually, no, you're right. I am making the judgment. I think during a deadly pandemic, people should lose the right to assemble for the greater good. Yes, I think that's fine. Or at the very least, it should be illegal to assemble in such large groups. And likewise, if you disagree with that law, you should continue assembling and take the consequences that go with it, much like the Black Lives Matter protesters did. No, I'm saying it was illegal for the Black Lives Matter protesters to be out, and they accepted the consequences of going out. And I'm saying that it should also be illegal for you to go to church during this pandemic. And if you care about it enough, you should still go to church, even though it's illegal. That's my position. Laws are meant to protect us from people who are trying to do harm. And I think it is perfectly in keeping with the ethos of this country during a pandemic to have regulation on how many people can get together. um, yes, BLM was understandable, but it was not legal. They weren't punished. My dude, BLM protesters had their human rights violated. They had their bones broken. They had their heads bashed in. They had their eyes shot out. They had their knees ripped apart. They were hit by cars. They were like, what are you talking about? Yeah, they took the punishment. Hundreds and thousands of people were getting arrested. I I honestly can't believe this person. Like, do they think that like when they get shot with rubber bullets, it's like being shot with like an airsoft rifle, but like softer? What what did they think these are? Rubber bullets are bullets thinly coated with rubber. Do you think they should have been arrested? Um, no. I think that they should have been able to exercise their First Amendment rights to free speech. But also, I think that during a pandemic, like, I think it's reasonable to. I guess if we're playing the game of this should have happened, I think authorities should have responded to the protests much sooner. I think that we should still not allow gatherings of more than 20 people. Um, yes. In my ideal world, the government would have reformed the local police, would have admitted wrong in the Breonna Taylor case, and yeah, we would have addressed these things far sooner than we did. It shouldn't take a record-setting, like lengthy protest to get these things done. Um, here. And and the other thing is, no one's saying you can't worship. No one's saying that at all. You can do that from your home. You can do it online. You can do it in small Bible groups. I've been to plenty of small Bible groups in my lifetime. I know that these are extremely possible and extremely common. Thoughts on education camps for hardcore Trump supporters? I'm not for education camps at all. Not for camps of any kind. Um, that being said, I do think we need to figure out some way to rehabilitate these people in conversation. Like, I don't know how to talk to a real a real Trumper. Some of them are reasonable, but others of them that have been taken in by like QAnon and stuff, like, yeah, they're super far gone. Or even the ones who are like super doomer about like all the COVID-19 stuff. Um like all the COVID-19 stuff. Like there are some people out there, and Revolt Rise saw me do this, um, where you talk with them about COVID-19, and they're just like, "Yeah, I don't care if 100,000, 200,000 more people die. Like I'm fine with that." I don't know how to talk with someone like that either. Someone who's just totally fine with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people dying, as long as the economy keeps ticking and they do fine. Like I don't know how to talk with someone like that. Um, it's a Trump supporter in education. Well, um, oh yeah, I mean, like going to church and being in a community is a genuine part of a lot of people's faith, and it's a huge part of a lot of people's identities these days as well. Like a lot of people, the only way that they resist the atomization of capitalism is through church, and I totally understand that. But I think that that needs to be, even that, even if it's the last bastion between you and complete atomization, I think that we need to like the government needs to operate in the best interests of everyone. And frankly, that's by saying, well, you can go to a virtual church meeting, but you can't go to a in-person church meeting right now because if you do, people are going to die. And yeah, like I think much like during World War II when exceptional circumstances called for exceptional action, and we socialized the factories to enable World War II production. I think that these are exceptional times and they call for exceptional action. And that does indeed include banning gatherings of more than 20 people. I don't think this is unreasonable. How are you supposed to take sacraments virtually? I don't know. I feel like God and the priest can probably bless stuff virtually. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to. It's an omnipotent God. Um, Yeah, true. And also, like, yeah, you know what's also really bad for the economy? Hundreds of thousands of people dying. That's also really bad for the economy. I had to quit playing with a couple of guys in America due to them being for Trump. It was the fact that they just shot down anything I said about the other side. So sad that some of us can't agree to disagree. True, though there are some matters that I can't agree to disagree on. Where like I'm not going to agree to disagree with people who like think that I'm anything less than a human being deserving of completely equal rights to anyone else. Things like that are not things that I'm going to agree to disagree on. Um, can I share a link of a photo I took as I was leaving a protest after Dayton PD showed up with SWAT? Sure. Link it to Ahmad. A lot of people talk politics while they're gaming. The same way a lot of like people talk politics when they're bowling or something. Yeah, a lot of people talk politics. You share the things you care about with others. Um, is this the picture? Is this the picture? Oh, okay. What is going on in this picture, Lady Raincloud? You're in the car leaving? Is that like a SWAT vehicle? What is that? What is happening? Um, they were responding by blocking off State Route 35 with an armored SWAT vehicle and SWAT officers. That's not an MRAP. Dang, that is hardcore. Oh no, I disagree, Wesley Snipes. I think you should bring up politics in average conversation, if only to avoid being friends with Nazis. Oh yeah, yeah. We have a lot of ex-military people here, um, and also uh, apparently Revolt Rise is some form of CIA, maybe. Um, um, Wait, Revolt Rise? Are you a plant? Are you a plant in Twitch? A Twitch plant? Um, I do data analytics and acquisition for my own company in support of many different industries. Race cars is my favorite gig, so I mention it first usually, but I also work with IT security hardware, oil, gas industry, automotive industry, AI, robots, and manufacturing, CIA tech here and there, and DoD stuff when they call. Again, Revolt Rise. How do you do all of that? That seems like an awful lot for you to do. Are you truly a human being, or are you some sort of singularity robot? I mean, I believe it. I believe it, Archangel the Cobb. He's smart enough to be one. Well, Revolt Rise. If you have any access to that sweet sweet CIA money, I am a pretty good writer and editor. If they need someone to write and edit things, and also I'm looking for work, so you know, hit me up. Oh no, what did Wesley Snipes do when people talk about defunding cops? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, if they need anything, let me know. I'm willing to do some work. Um, Mod's a pick of a 6x6 MRAP. Oh, dang. Again, why do police need these? This is not something I think they generally need. Used by a sheriff. Oh yeah, they had to have the sheriff on there, to designate it from to differentiate it from the rank and file MRAPs. Called someone a barrel of laughs. I spent many a frozen night on one of those buckets. I'm really sorry about that. That sounds awful. Yeah, exactly, because they got the funding for him. Um, they don't need them yet. They will for their plan. True. Um, is it offensive to ask someone if they're trans? Well, I am trans. I didn't see the question. Um, my mods are doing their best. There are a lot of really like offensive people who come in here to say nasty things. So my mods might be a little bit trigger happy when it comes to that stuff. Um, they definitely needed it that one time in Los Angeles. Yeah, I mean, like, I can understand maybe for like one in a big city, but like, you don't need multiple of these. You don't need these in a small town. And also, like, I don't know, maybe a $1.5 million expenditure for something you only need once every 15 years is kind of, I don't know, doesn't seem like a good use of money to me. But I'm not an accountant. I don't know. I'm just doing my best. Um, Also, thank you for the follow. I can't feel a thing. I appreciate it. I hope you feel a thing though at some point. Oh no. Okay. Awesome. All right, we should probably switch to something else here because Italy's Italy's doing so much worse than us. Goes back to when I was in my 20s and got drunk, came up with the name. Oh, were you sad posting? Was it an emo? Was it an emo name? Oh, that's right. I was gonna watch this. Holy shit.
But why did it happen in the first place? Where did this trade off nonsense begin? Well, it comes from the business community. It comes, in short, from capitalists. They don't want the economy locked down because it deprives them of profits. Let's be real clear here. Whatever their feelings about COVID-19, they don't want to lose their profits because there are lots and lots of unemployed people, especially during and because of the pandemic. They're not worried if some of their folks get sick.
Hello, new people viewing.
Or maybe even die. There are loads of unemployed people, able, willing, and increasingly desperate to take whatever jobs might be made available. So the employers know there's lots of employees around. They're not going to be short employees because there's a sickness among them. Is that an ugly perspective? Yeah, but it doesn't help to pretend it's not operating around us. It is a mistake not to lock down the economy. Because if we don't do that, and if this disease persists, and if it comes back in waves, as it is clearly now doing in large parts of the world, it will have long-term and increasingly deep economic effects, and they're none of them any good. So it was a mistake to think of a trade-off. The first priority could have and should have been the disease. Fight this disease. Keep its spread to an absolute minimum. Yes, pause the economy to do that. Pause our personal lives. Pause our recreation. Pause, and you get the picture, to beat the disease. Because if you don't, the disease will come and give the economy repeated, devastating knocks. It was foolhardy to try to rev up the economy again before you had really taken care of this disease. And as long as...
Well, William of Orange, I expect that he would advocate for the government to make sure that small businesses don't go out of business and poor people don't go homeless via some sort of, ongoing payment plan from the government. Yeah. Yeah, like welfare programs, like every other developed nation has done. Yes.
mass vaccines that are effective, and nobody in their right mind thinks that's going to happen before 2021. Until we have that, limiting the exposure and limiting the infection and limiting the spread is the number.
And again, what he just said, you limit the infection and limit the spread until there's a vaccine. This is what we did in the 1960s with the Hong Kong flu. Like, yeah, this is what we do. You limit the spread of the disease until a vaccine is created, and then you try with the vaccine to eliminate the disease as much as you can. This is a pretty straightforward thing. And that's like, I don't know how this isn't making sense to you, William of Orange, but like, yeah. If the Democrats, socialists prevail, it's America last. No, that's like literally what it's called. It was called in the 1960s the Hong Kong flu. That's what it was called. I'm using the term from history. And also, yes, the 1960s were very racist. Yeah, I'm not saying they're both the same thing, but what I am saying is that in the 1960s, the Hong Kong flu came over from Hong Kong, infected a lot of people in America, and the only thing that stopped it was when we invented a vaccine. This is why he's saying that a cycling system of shutdowns to limit the spread of the disease is the most beneficial thing, because then you have a vaccine and life can return to normal with minimum losses to life and the economy. Um, yeah, whenever there's an extremely deadly virus, yes, you should shut down. H1N1 wasn't as deadly as COVID-19. Yeah, yeah, no, I understand. You understand that like shutting down the economy, like the economy literally, and we know this from a historical point of view and an economic point of view, the economy doesn't return to normal until the pandemic is over. Because people don't go out to shop and consume and use services largely until a pandemic is over. So, yeah, the goal is to limit the amount of loss of life, the loss of jobs, the loss of small businesses until we have a vaccine, and then life can resume and the economy can resume. Except in America, our position has been let's just fucking let people die so that we can make as much money as possible, and that's fine. Um, let's see. How would you have known that at the time in the middle of H1N1? I'm not a pandemic specialist. All I know is that we didn't all die from we didn't lose 200,000 plus people from H1N1, so we must have been doing something right. Yeah. I'm left wing and pro vax, but I'm scared of taking a COVID vaccine too early. Yeah, Wesley Snipes. I would concur with that. I'm skeptical of our expedited testing process, but we'll see what they come up with. You know, it depends. If a lot of scientists say it's okay, maybe I'll take it. Um, wait? MCL, do you think that like with H1N1 we just literally did nothing and it's only luck that it wasn't bad? You realize like we responded to it, right? Like the government responded to it. Like we had all kinds of programs just like around Ebola. Like these things, yeah. Yeah, COVID, yeah, H1N1 was mismanaged. Yes, it was. But also hundreds of thousands of people didn't die. And the strategy wasn't just do fucking nothing. Holy shit. Because H1N1 wasn't as bad. Yep. Exactly. This is far worse. I don't understand what you're getting at. I'm sure there was and is a lot of information about the spreadability and death rate of early on with H1N1. Also, Carrot Cake 9000. I don't think I ever called you out in chat. Hello. Thank you for being on this stream, and thank you for providing information. I do appreciate it.
One priority. But I want to return to explaining why.
The flu doesn't kill hundreds of thousands of people a year. The death rate for the flu is between like... do I really have to look this up again? Flu deaths US. Let's see. Let's take a look at this. No, I just want generalized data, CDC. Here we go. Disease burden of... Here we go. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, it kills between 12,000 and 61,000 people per year. So, yeah, it doesn't kill hundreds of thousands of people per year. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about or where you got that. The flu kills between 12,000 and 60,000 people a year. It's nowhere near hundreds of thousands of people. Oh, okay. You didn't say in the United States. Well, I was talking about in the United States. And I think just worldwide, this is killing way more people than flu, especially in the United States. I think like the death rate is something like let's just take a look. Death rate from influenza. Let's see. I guess I need to get out my calculator. Okay. By 9 million. Yeah, okay. So the death rate is between 0.1% um and let's see. Yeah, it's around 0.1%. It's like 0.13%. Um so yeah, COVID's death rate is around two times, or sorry, not two times, like 20 times more deadly than the flu. Yeah. So, yeah. 2 2% of people who have COVID-19 in the United States have died. Yes. Like I think 2.3% of people who got COVID in the United States died. Um and wait, what were you just sourcing? I was sourcing the CDC numbers. So 2.3% of people in the United States died when they had COVID-19. The death rate from if you get the flu in the United States is about 0.13%. Yeah. No, no, no. MCL, you're using bad data that is using the assumption that the CDC is overcounting the number of people who died because it includes numbers from people who had pre-existing conditions. That's a stupid fucking way of counting up deaths in a pandemic. You count the deaths of people who died because they had the illness, okay? That's how you count it up. You count it up by if this person hadn't had this illness, they wouldn't have died. Okay, there you go. Basement Biden lockdown coming soon to a Democrat state near you. I hope so. It would save a lot of lives. Do you acknowledge that funding for hospitals goes up for COVID deaths? I'm pretty sure funding for hospitals goes up for every kind of death, my dude. The hospitals, like you understand. By the way, you understand, like what you're alleging is like a giant conspiracy of doctors across the nation that haven't had any whistleblowers on this. You're like to make what you think is true, you would need to have a widespread network of doctors who have all committed to doing a conspiracy theory like nonsense that means that they are committing like all kinds of fraud and breaking all kinds of laws and no one's figured it out except you somehow. So this is incredible breaking news. You should bring evidence of it to the FBI or whatever legal organization you trust because this is something that would be like record-breaking fraud on a level unseen in the history of the United States. Or it could be that you're just wrong. And I think that's probably more likely. Are there really intelligent beings on other planets? I mean, maybe. I'm open to the idea. I feel like um here, let's take a look at a local news report that debunks this exact point. The coronavirus pandemic has led to the spread of conspiracy theories claiming hospitals are over-reporting the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths. Phone calls into the local 12 newsroom have some people concerned over allegations that hospitals are misreporting COVID-19 deaths, cases, and death. FactCheck.org said social media posts emerged after a Fox News interview with Minnesota State Senator Scott Jensen. Jensen suggested that if a hospital has a COVID-19 admission, it is paid $13,000. If that patient goes on a ventilator, it is paid $39,000. J.B. Silvers is a professor of health finance at Case Western Reserve University. He debunked the myth. There's no evidence at all in the data. It's a conspiracy theory because there is an extra payment. The CARES Act has said that if you have people that have a coronavirus diagnosis, that you get some extra money, said Silvers. The CARES Act did create relief funding for hospitals. It has a 20% add-on to be paid for Medicare patients with COVID-19. It also helps reimburse hospitals for treating uninsured patients. FactCheck.org said the numbers Jensen suggests are average Medicare payments for similar complications. What we have now, allegations, concerns, conspiracy assumptions, things like that. No evidence. Silvers said revenue is down at hospitals because elective procedures were suspended for months. FactCheck.org says inflating the numbers of COVID-19 cases would be minor compared to other forces that are affecting hospitals. It's nowhere near, even if you believe that. This wouldn't make much difference. This is not the way you get yourself out of that box. You lost all the paying customers for 3 months. That's not enough to put it. That's enough to put anyone out of business, said Silvers. Let's see. Local 12 reached out to local hospitals. One response was to the allegation was this is absolutely preposterous. Said it had no reports of misreporting cases in the state. So again, if you have evidence for this, it's an incredible claim that you should bring to your local authorities and be able to prove in court, because if you do take this to court, you should be able to prove it. Just make sure you're able to prove it. That will be a wonderful case for me to follow. Send me a link to all the court proceedings. I'll be very interested. But yeah, I don't think that this holds any water. Okay.
Anything other than that was put forward. It's the business community. It's the employers. They want to make profits. They don't want their activities idled.
True.
Profit requires business as usual.
True.
Workers working, producing more than you pay them to work so that you can accumulate the difference as
also
profits.
Thank you, Lady Raincloud, for that information.
And that's why they pushed to reopen sooner, not later. That's why the docile politicians that do...
Employees don't get profits unless they work at a worker co-op. Employees get wages. There's a distinct difference between profits and wages. No, profits are not the same as wages. No. The people who own the company get the profits. I I honestly don't know how to explain this. Yeah. Okay. So here I'm going to explain business to you really quick. When you make money as a business, that's revenue. Out of the revenue, you have to pay your expenses. The expenses are paid to the workers and for upkeep and maintenance and such. Those expenses include wages. Everything that's left over is profit. That's how businesses work. Profit is not the same as wages. Wages are underpaying workers for the value of their labor, and from that's where you get profit. You don't think an employee wants the company to profit? No, there's no. Are you kidding me? MCL, is there any benefit for a burger flipper at McDonald's if like McDonald's does well in a given year? No, there's absolutely none. There's no benefit to a worker there's no benefit to a worker at Best Buy if their company does well. There's no benefit to like a grocer if they're like multi-chain companies doing well. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Well then they can go out and get another job. Like another job that they don't give a shit about. Yeah. I mean, no, but you just don't seem to understand business at all, which is kind of tickling me. Um, okay, great. You don't have a local restaurant? You think a company is all Burger King? My dude, have you ever driven through like small town America? Like all of the local restaurants have been replaced by like fast food companies. Oh, I'm so. MCL, did you want me to list every business in the world? Did you want me to list every business in the world? I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had to list all of them. Wow. Okay. Oh, gosh. Small businesses are the backbone of the USA. Sure, bud. Sure. 80-hour stream go. I mean, it might turn into one. Who knows? Especially if I have good folks like MCL in my chat, I might be streaming forever. You know. This sort of interaction fuels me. By the way. Yeah, there's no benefit to an employee if your business does well. No, none. Employees don't get the profits of the business. Now, if an employee is working at a worker co-ops more equitably distribute the profit of the company, and they distribute it among the workers generally. So, if you're an employee at a worker co-op, you have a lot more incentive for your company to do well. What if the business goes bankrupt? What then? Then you go and get another job, my dude. Yeah. Haven't you heard of like the Walmartification of the world? Like, yeah, Walmart comes into like a small town and becomes the one store in that town. If your business goes out of job, I guess you go work at Walmart. Yeah, it's not easy for everyone to get a job. That's true. That's very true. That's why the shutdown is dangerous. It will bankrupt all local companies. Well, then maybe the government should step in and make sure those companies don't go bankrupt, my dude. And maybe it should step in to make sure that poor people don't die of starvation. I don't understand it, like what gets lost in translation here when I talk about when I talk about this, and I'm just like, we need to do shutdowns, and then conservatives tend to just assume that I mean like we let everyone else die. That's not really what I'm saying. There's not enough money in the world to save all local businesses. Oh my goodness, dude. Why don't you pay UBI for the duration of the pandemic so people don't need to care about rent, food, etc.? Exactly. It's not an impossible thing to do. We literally give oil companies like hundreds of millions of dollars every year for doing nothing. Like they're already profitable companies. Um, Great, we print money. Yeah, we do. We we literally my dude, we literally gave an over 1.5 trillion dollar tax cut to the rich 4 years ago. Maybe we just undo that. Maybe we undo that. Like there's a lot of things that we could do. There's a lot of things that we could do. Oh gosh. I mean, I guess I'm glad that you're okay with throwing grandma in the wood chipper as long as you can save your precious local arts and crafts store. Okay, I'm glad that you're in like this boat of just like, yeah, fucking throw my kids in there. Who cares? If there are 100 people in my town, sure, 2 of them can die. Whatever. I'll pull out a Glock and kill them myself. I'm glad that you're in this mindset. It's gonna help you when your loved ones start dying. Um, yeah, the Ben Shapiro school of thought. Exactly. Oh man, I'm nostalgic now for 2 days ago when I talked about Ben Shapiro videos. I've been in trying to finish this video for like fucking half an hour, hour and a half. I don't know how long I've been trying to watch this video. It's only 6 minutes long, and it has triggered you like the fuck out of you guys. Yeah, Revolt Rise is a smarty. He probably knows more than I do. Yeah, $2.4 trillion. I'm gonna go with Revolt Rise's numbers. He's much smarter than I am, Mr. CIA over there.
Do their bidding. We're out there pushing to reopen the economy. We shouldn't have. Here's what we should have done.
Well, I mean, your position is there is all the money in the world couldn't pay for this, despite other countries somehow managing to do it. So, all right, I don't know. You're on some silly sauce, MCL. Um, and also like I don't know. It might be good to give like people money though, because then that money circulates in our economy as opposed to just stagnating. Um, so yeah, maybe circulating money in the economy would be good for it. Do you think that circulating money in the economy is generally a good thing? No, you want the government to print money that doesn't exist? Or where do you think the money goes? Where do you think all of the money goes that that the poor people suddenly don't have? Where do you think that money goes? Where do you think all of the money goes that was already put into circulation? What money? You just invented it by printing. No, I'm talking about the money that was already pumped into the economy, dipshit. I'm talking about like the money that was already circulating in our economy before the economic collapse. I'm sorry I called you a dipshit. I'm just my opinion of you just keeps going down. It's in the pockets of individuals. Well, maybe those individuals who probably already have way too much money should help the government circulate it more. Maybe undoing the tax cut and circulating more money would help the economy. I don't know. I guess you prefer it sitting in the pockets of individuals as long as you can kill 2 people in your community. I don't know. Um, I mean, I would actually be okay with going farther than $2.4 trillion and reversing one tax cut. Yes, I would be okay with doing more than reversing one tax cut. Yes. Um, what's the limit of spending in your world? Whatever the fuck we have to spend to make sure people aren't dying from a pandemic, my dude. And then on top of that, helping businesses to survive so that your worst case scenario doesn't happen with all the small businesses dying out. So does that have a number? No, it doesn't. You pay what you gotta pay. The like money isn't exactly fake, but we've gotten into this system in the world um, where all countries in the world base their value off of the dollar, which then keeps our dollar stable. So we've literally been able to print like $15 trillion over the last like decade and have like relatively no effects from it. So yeah, we've been able in the past via quantitative easing to yeah get ourselves out of economic problems. We just don't know what to what extent that goes. Yeah, well, yeah, the U.S. is in a unique position, so yeah, we should use that unique position to our advantage. Revolt Rise, I don't think he gets it. I don't think he gets it. However much we
We
need.
should have mobilized our public and private resources to beat the disease and to limit the damage, the long term damage that disease was doing. Above all, and first of all, for the children, for the future of our country.
Wait. I need to look this up. How much money has the Fed printed? All right. Wow. Look at this. From July, the US printed more money in 1 month than in 2 centuries. Wow. Wow, look at this. Super wow. Huh. Interesting. Wow. Despite widespread fears of overinflation, many experts predict consumer prices will actually go into a period of deflation, which is exactly what happened in Australia. Consumer prices in the country actually dropped by 1.9% in June. Wow. Weird. Huh. Strange. Huh. It's almost like we printed more money in a month than we had in 2 centuries, and instead of getting 2 centuries worth of inflation, instead of seeing 2 centuries worth of inflation, we got deflation. Wow. Wild. It's almost like you're wrong about every single thing you've said about business and econ in this chat. Yeah, actually. Yeah, interesting. Revolt Rise knows more about econ than I do, though. Could probably explain it more.
Our society. Their educations needn't have been and shouldn't have been interrupted, just like the lives of their parents couldn't have been and shouldn't have been.
By the way, just so you know, if you think that everything this guy said was really idiotic, he's a well-respected econ professor from like Stanford and Harvard and pretty much all the most respected schools in our country. So, just as an FYI, like as an appeal to authority, whatever. Um, no, he is from Harvard and Stanford and where I forget the third school, but no, I think you just don't understand. I just don't think you understand. My theory, well, my theory isn't let's print $10 trillion, though that's an option. My theory is we should probably cut military spending during like a massive fucking pandemic, and maybe reallocate some of that money to other emergency uses?
Interrupted, undone, rendered into impossible conditions inside households. Here's the way that could have been done and should have been done. Every restaurant that had to close could have reopened as a classroom or as 2 or 3 classrooms, because that would have given us the extra space to have proper social distancing among the students and a teacher or two. From the millions who are unemployed, the extra teachers to have classes with no more than 3 to 5 young
Oh, sorry. He has degrees from Harvard, Stanford, and Yale. There we go.
people in them could have been arranged. Cinemas could have been used because they have big spaces for people to sit far enough away.
And on top of all of those things, he also teaches these subjects. So, like, I don't know, Cruz is kind of a dipshit and he doesn't really know anything and would probably be a terrible professor.
Be safe while continuing their educations. The unemployed could have been the teachers, and the unutilized spas, restaurants, movie theaters, opera houses, auditoriums of every conceivable sort could have been there to supplement the schools and thereby provide social distancing.
True.
That would have been a mobilization
True.
of the sort you could have and should have undertaken. None of that is profitable, is it? The government could have sustained the restaurants so that their staffs continue to be paid, but we're now maintaining super clean, super safe schoolrooms with social distancing. You get the picture? You could have and you should have. And had you done that, you would have defeated the disease's spread and avoided second lockdowns. The profit-driven capitalist system was the enemy of dealing with this disease in the way that it should have. That's why they failed to accumulate the masks and the ventilators and the gloves. That's why they persuaded the government not to come in and buy the ventilators and the gloves and the tests to treat this.
Because Italy opened up its borders, because Italy stopped its lockdown procedures. Yeah, a lot of things. But also, Italy is doing better than us per capita. And also, yeah, Europe is capitalist, my dude. What are you on? What world do you live in? I'm genuinely concerned about you. Yeah, Europe is capitalist. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. I how divorced from reality can you possibly be? Like, yeah, I none of the countries in Europe are socialist. None of them have workers controlling the means of production or significantly decommodified economies. They have some socialist policies, but like on the whole, they're capitalist. I don't yeah, he was about to restart that last argument. Holy shit. Guys, I don't know how to get through to people like that, right? Like, you bring up the numbers for Italy per capita, you bring up the numbers for the US per capita, and the numbers for Italy per capita, despite the graphs looking the same, are about half of what the United States are. So, like, it's just, why are people like this? I don't understand. Like, clearly, even though Italy is not doing well right now, it has done better than the United States by almost every metric. I like this is something that is absolutely true. Cool fact: only America is the only capitalist country in the world. Something that chuds actually believe. True. On the political left, right line fascism is opposite to communism, right? Yeah, I guess so. Um, what, we can't take joke anymore? I'm just like I'm so baffled by people like this. Um, Also, six foot ant. Hello, and thank you for the follow. I think I remember seeing you in Prime Kai's chat. Hello. And also, I hope you enjoy your time here. It's I don't usually just argue with the chud like that, but um, carrot cake 9,000. Yes, true. Vevova Kurzfritzk. I man, Vevova Vevova Frist Fristig Kurzfristig. Hello. I welcome to the chat. I'm really sorry, comrade. I'm I'm really bad at names. I'm bad at remembering them and I'm bad at saying them. Gosh. Okay, maybe I can make it through this next 47 seconds without someone saying something stupid.
Disease with the seriousness it should have. And you know, when you look at the societies who did that, China, New Zealand, South Korea, even Germany, you see that they mobilized private and public resources and they kept the interference of the capitalist class to a minimum, not
Oh
zero,
wait,
a minimum.
was this just a massive troll revolt rise? Did you pay that person with your CIA money? Oh, Archangel the Cobb, you absolute card, you.
That proved to make all the difference. The sickness is not the pandemic. The sickness is the system.
Boom.
This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.
Absolutely. Yeah, on it, like here's the thing. The only reason the US pandemic response is so bad is because capitalists have so much power in this country and capitalists want businesses to keep going so that they can keep making money. That's literally it. That's literally it. Um Soros hates leftists. Uh, is the different reactions to this video? Yeah, this video triggered the fuck out of so many of the right people in chat. But no, like William of Orange, I don't know how you can argue that like the capitalist incentive to keep businesses running so you can keep making money didn't override keeping people safe in our country. Like obviously that's what happened. Unlike other countries in the world where they didn't have enough power to make that happen. Like it's I don't really understand why it's funny to you, but if you want to try and explain it, you can feel free. But he didn't even say that. He said it hurt workers in the middle of the video. Yeah, it hurt workers because workers depend on companies to get their wages, but it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be that way.